You are listening to VideoGamersOasis Playful Podcast, and this is Text Adventure Tuesdays. We are playing The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, interactive fiction, text adventure game, first released in 1984. And we're playing this on WinFrots. Hello, welcome back to Video Gamers Oasis Playful Podcast. I'm your host Jeremy, and this is another episode of Text Adventure Tuesdays. Actually, this is the 21st episode of the series so far, and this is going to be the season finale. So strap in your favorite couch or lazy boy chair, lazy girl chair, what do you want to call it? Lazy person chair. With your favorite cup of real tea. In fact, get yourself a whole teacup of real tea and your favorite bowl of salty beer nuts, or whatever snack that you like to eat. This is going to be an extra long episode of Text Adventure Tuesday. We are making progress in our adventure game of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Infocom Interactive Fiction, a science fiction story. Copyright 1984 by Infocom Incorporated, all rights reserved. We had to, if you've been following my adventure so far, I've been having some problems previously because of the, wasn't able to progress because I didn't, when I traveled as Trillian, I had to go back in time to redo the adventures, including putting the jacket fluff into the handbag. Now offline, I did all the adventures off the line, didn't record, didn't broadcast it. I got all the missions done correctly, and now we are ready to make progress. Tune in right after this station identification. We're going to do a brief recap of all the adventures with the random scenarios that Arthur has to go using the spare improbability drive. And after we go through all those, a brief recap of all those little mini adventures, we'll progress back on the bridge of the Heart of Gold. And Arthur is continuing to tinker with the Nutrimat control panel with his toolbox, various tools, and working on the ship. He's messing with Eddie the computer, the spaceship computer. I hope you stay tuned for that adventure. It's very delightfully wacky and fun. Right after the station identification, you're listening to Video Gamers Oasis Playful Podcast, and this is Text Adventure Tuesdays. Coming right up. Video Gamers Oasis Playful Podcast. Discussions on my favorite games, movies, TV shows, anime, comic books, collectibles, and other fun content for gamers and geeks. I'm your host, Jeremy. Welcome to the show. You are listening to Video Gamers Oasis Playful Podcast, and this is Text Adventure Tuesdays. We are playing The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, interactive fiction, text adventure game, first released in 1984. And we're playing this on WinFrots. Here's a brief recap of the adventures so far. Look at Spare Improbability Drive. The Spare Improbability Drive has a switch, a long cord ending with a large plug, and a short cord plugged into the atomic vector plotter. It bears a small label which reads, "Another fine product of the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation." Press switch. You are disoriented. Blackness swims toward you like a shoal of eels, who have just seen something that eels like a lot. Darkness. You see a painfully bright light that stabs at the front of your eyes. Look at bright light. The light resolves itself into the bright yellow sun of Earth. You are hurrying up a country lane. The sky is light and clear, but you keep glancing at it with apprehension because you know that it will shortly be torn apart by Vogon ships, and that the hills and trees around you will just burn up and blow away. And you hope there's time for a quick drink beforehand. You want to hitch a ride aboard the Vogon fleet, but are anxious because it's so long since you were through a matter transference beam. Country Lane. The road runs from Arthur's home to the north, toward the village pub to the west. Look. Front of house. There is a huge pile of rubble to the north. A path leads around it to the north, east, and northwest, and a country lane is visible to the south. There is an electronic sub-ether signaling device here. Arthur Dent is here. Mr. Prosser, from the local council, is standing at the side of the bulldozer. He seems to be wearing a digital watch. Fierce gales whip across the land, and thunder bangs continuously through the air in the wake of the giant ships. You struggle to reach the thumb, but the wind is too fierce and you are driven back. Fortunately, at this point, Arthur picks up the thumb and somehow manages to push the right button. However often you do it, you are still stunned by the shock of dematerialization. The scene around is ripped away like a flimsy back cloth. Everything becomes dark. Look, living room. You are in a large living room. There is a party going on. Other rooms lie to the west and southwest, and the apartment's front door is south of here. There is a glass of white wine here. Phil is here. Arthur Dent is here. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about newts he has known. "Tricia, dear," says the hostess insistently, "don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres?" Inventory. You have jacket, fluff, a handbag. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about computers. "Tricia, dear," says the hostess insistently, "don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres? Take jacket fluff. You already have it." Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about computers. "Tricia, dear," says the hostess insistently, "don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres? Put jacket fluff in handbag." Inspection reveals that the handbag isn't open. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about the deteriorating condition of the motorways. "Tricia, dear," says the hostess insistently, "don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres?" Open handbag. Opening the handbag reveals a pair of tweezers. Out of the corner of your eye, you see Phil leering at you. He starts to approach, but then notices the hostess with you and veers away. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about a recent visit to Tiverton. Trisha dear, says the hostess insistently, don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres? Put jacket fluff in handbag. Done. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about newts he has known. Trisha dear, says the hostess insistently, don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres? Put jacket fluff in handbag. Done. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about newts he has known. Trisha dear, says the hostess insistently, don't you want your plate of hors d'oeuvres? Take plate. Taken. Arthur tries unsuccessfully to interest you by talking about a recent visit to Tiverton. The hostess, whom you've been avoiding all evening, scurries up with your glass of white wine. Oh, hello, Trisha. How lovely to see you. I think you dropped this, dear. Take glass. Take it. Phil comes up and grips your shoulder. Hey, babe. This guy boring you? Why not come with me instead? I am from a different planet. He takes you out to the parking lot, where his flashy, interorbital ion scooter is parked between two Volkswagens. After mounting it, the scooter accelerates at such a great speed that you black out almost immediately. Everything becomes dark. The fleet continues to hurtle sunwards. Wait, time passes. Your simple act of kindness, at a moment of great personal anxiety, you fed the dog, remember? Now brings rich rewards. The battle fleet plunges toward Earth and spots the dog, which appears to them as a gigantic monster, cheerfully tucking into a cheese sandwich. The Vlahergs and the Gavants are moved by this simple picture of happiness, compared with the furious savagery of their own lives. They think back to a day when they used to relax over an odd cheese sandwich themselves, often at sunset after a hearty day working in the fields back in Vlahergun and Gavergia, and decide to return and rebuild their homes in a new spirit of harmony and cooperation. Grateful, they offer to drop you at the Heart of Gold on the way home. After a brief 900 parsec trip, you are escorted into the transporter chamber of the warship. The transporter glows, and your surroundings change. Maze. This is part of a spongy gray maze of twisty little synapses, all alike. Maze. This is part of a spongy gray maze of twisty little synapses, all alike. South. Maze. This is part of a spongy gray maze of twisty little synapses, all alike. Blocking the gap between two synapses is a large black particle. There seem to be some faint markings on it. Look at black particle. As you look closer, you see, inscribed in tiny letters on the particle, sense, comma, common, for, colon, Dent, comma, Arthur, brackets, for replacement, comma, order, part, number sign 31-541, end bracket. Take particle. As you remove the particle, electrical impulses begin leaping madly across the now unblocked synaptic gap. Unfortunately, you were in the gap at the time. Everything becomes dark. This is the lair of the ravenous bug bladder beast of Trawl. There are exits east and southwest. The ravenous bug-bladder beast of troll is here, looking particularly nasty and hungry. With a head-splitting roar, the ravenous bug-bladder beast of troll charges towards you, wrap towel around head. The ravenous bug-bladder beast of troll is completely bewildered. It is so dim, it thinks that if you can't see it, it can't see you. You have a few seconds before it realizes its mistake. Take sharp stone. Take it. Carve name on memorial. Whose name? The beast's name? Your aunt's name? One of the infinite unknowable names of Buddha? How about the name of Fred, who runs, or rather ran, your local chip shop? At least that's a short name. Carve Arthur's name on memorial. You chip away with the stone. It's not your best writing. What with your mounting sense of panic and a towel wrapped around your head. However, it suffices. Just as the beast is trying to work out where you're disappeared to, it suddenly sees your name, freshly carved on its memorial of remembrance. Mystery solved. It realizes it must have already eaten you in a fit of absent-mindedness. Its mind is very, very small and quite frequently absent. It decides to give up the rest of its afternoon to the twin arts of digestion and contemplation. It settles down for a snooze. Go west to lair, and then go southwest to the inner lair. This is the heart of the beast's lair. The only exit leads northeast. The skeleton of a dead beast hunter lies nearby, clutching something labeled Nutrimat/computer interface. Take Nutrimat/computer interface. Take it. Wait. Time passes several turns, and then finally, suddenly a team of Frauennerdian beast hunters charges in, intent on catching the beast for their zoo. Mistaking you for the beast, they fire stun guns at you, wrap you in nets, and install you in a lovely little lair in the Frauennerdi National Zoo. 3 months later, the error is discovered. But while your damaged suit is pending in the Frauennerdian courts, the planet is invaded by bureaucratic pirates from Paladon 4. Impressed into bondage for a 16-year filing and sorting mission on the so-called basement world of Sporla in the Lesser Magellanic Cloud, you escape with the help of a tribe of nomadic asteroid painters. You develop a unique talent for asteroid painting, gaining considerable fame throughout the cloud. A nickel ore deluxe is commissioned by His Royal Gorpness Orbjefelk, the ruler of the 900 worlds of Gorp. But while working on this new masterpiece, your asteroid slips into a small, passing black hole. Everything becomes dark. See darkness. You see a painfully bright light that stabs at the back of your eyes. Look at bright light. The light resolves itself into the bright orange sun of Damogran. The pain at the back of your eyes is from partying till very late last night, and both your heads are suffering the worst hangover you've ever experienced. You remember formulating a plan to steal the heart of gold, but you can't for the life of you remember any details. Presidential speedboat in the pilot's seat. You are piloting the speedboat, which features very simple controls. Towards the island of France, footnote 3, where the dedication ceremonies for the Heart of Gold will occur. You are currently steering the boat toward a narrow channel between towering cliffs and a rocky spire. There is a toolbox here, outside the pilot's seat. Look at toolbox. It's closed. You continue to steer toward the narrow channel. Take toolbox. Taken. You continue to steer toward the narrow channel. Search seat. You discover and pick up a small key and a piece of fluff under the seat cushion. You continue to steer toward the narrow channel. Inventory. You have a small key, seat cushion fluff, a toolbox. Look, dais. This is a platform surrounded by a crowd. Several members of the crowd are holding a huge banner. Just to the east is the Heart of Gold. Many disarmed guards are nervously eyeing you and Chilean, who is pointing a blaster at your head. Go east. You and Chilean enter the Heart of Gold, that beautiful bauble you've been coveting ever since your decision to run for president of the galaxy. The excitement overwhelms you, or perhaps it's just the awesome hangover from last night. Everything becomes dark. You are listening to Video Gamers Oasis Playful Podcast, and this is Text Adventure Tuesdays. We are playing The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, interactive fiction, text adventure game, first released in 1984. And we're playing this on WinFrots. Okay, we're back on the Heart of Gold. We completed all the scenarios. Whew, man, you have no idea how much of a relief this is. I had to repeat the various scenarios several times, and I messed up on a previous episode with Trillium. Trillium as Ford as Trillium in the party. I forgot to put the jacket fluff in the handbag, and I had to redo many of the adventures that I've already recorded and broadcasted on my podcast, so I had to do it offline. So I finally got all those missions done. I got all the items.